exploring AI's transformative role in robotics and security for efficient innovation.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you. I'm Irene, and I speak with fascinating people in tech. Today is my day because Freddy Kuo with me. Freddy, how are you?
I'm doing well. I mean, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, the pleasure is mine because we announced the topic, which is AI, robotics, and security, and you are the right person to discuss it with. All right. So at the beginning, could you please enlighten us? All right, how rise of AI is really changing, transforming? Some people say, okay, everything that comes to robotics, security. What kind of today's state of the industry? If you give us some thoughts on it.
Yeah, I think for us, I think the biggest, revolutionary point is, AI really empower a lot of the robotics to develop a lot faster compared to before. Robotics have been around for a long time. That's not something new, but how the AI technology have really improved, the development of the generation and different iteration of how robotics can be, more useful and be more advanced than before. So I think it really powers that. We see that as the improvement that is revolutionary for a robotic world.
Sure. What about redefining security systems? Do you see that shift from manual to intelligent autonomous operations? What's going on there, Freddy?
Yeah, from a security standpoint, I think before it was so analog, and then from a security standpoint, it was more on the passive route. So, if something happens, you go back and look at all of the footage and see, to look at, if there's a break-in happening, what happened, what time does it happen? It was kind of like an afterthought, right? With AI empowering security, we were able to do things that, through pattern recognition, we were able to do it more proactively, right? So we can kind of not saying predict, but you can, when things happen, you can know it right away. It doesn't have to wait till, after the fact, human interact. It can automatically let you know that something is broken into or something that has already been, system down. So it's more of a proactive way of doing things than, back in the day during the analog age, it was more passive.
What's ahead of us, Freddy? Okay, let's
Yeah.
start with the future. Okay,
Yeah.
down the line, I want to hear about real examples. What's possible today, right? What do you think? What do you think is gonna evolve from the current present state of solutions, and maybe cutting edge explorations at some point?
Yeah, I think from the whole system security system integration that we're doing right now, what we're really trying to do is, are we able to, enable a lot of basically, having eyes everywhere and making sure that we cross the T's and dot the I's. Where, for example, in our office buildings, we linked up our license plate security system compared to our, employee badge, and then also our, employees facial recognitions, people that come into our office, and then our guest system. These all fully integrated together. So when someone is supposed to be in the office, we will know, and someone that not supposed to be in the office that came to the office, we will also know, and we can also flag these things, and just help us to be better managed overall. Because the overall theme is we can do this with all human labor, no problem. But as of for now, we're running into labor shortage, and also for people that wanted to do these jobs, we're getting more difficult to find. So it's really helping the necessity need that was previously done by labor. Now we can, through the power of AI, we're able to do that technology and incorporate that into our system. So, in the future, I think it will be, quite possible that we're able to see a lot of these systems getting smarter and smarter, and for human interaction to be, less, where we don't have to interact into the system as much. So I think it's exciting where we're able to do a lot more in the system. We don't have to do it so silo, right? Back in the day, a lot of the security is sitting in your front door, can only check on, who's coming in or out, but they wouldn't know whether the employees are, in today or not. So that whole system can be integrated together where you can see everything at once. I think that's, the integration part is what it really excites us.
Many companies, enterprises especially, they're dealing a lot with legacy, okay, with legacy systems and the whole stack of enterprise software, okay, and technology in general. So how do you see these new breakthroughs in cybersecurity automation, right, because of AI solutions that are available now. How companies will be breaking through these obstacles?
I think they're going to take it step by step. Even ourselves, we're breaking through those barriers as we speak. We coming from a legacy company that does manufacturing for many, many years, over 2 decades now. We're also in the process of transforming those information and how do we embed that into the AI system these days? Because as of for now, AI, the most important part is database. So having the legacy, actually, we have great opportunity to turn these, database that were stored for so long, and these are, specifically for different businesses, their trade know-hows. How do we transform that and use that as the power and the fuel to generate these AI and be able to create tools that are very, very, specific for different industry use? So I think the number one thing that I would suggest and what we're trying to do is how do we clean up a lot of these data, making sure that we're very, very organized on where these data are coming from, and having the experts that are on board right now to kind of, putting the more thoughts into it and basically, fine tuning these AIs into, basically a duplicate copy, a digital, to put in blunt words, a digital copy of themselves into this AI world. So I think really go back and look into the data points and what we had through that legacy. It's part very, very important at this point.
You mentioned factories, public spaces, right before, offices, okay?
Yeah.
So could you give us examples of some of the AI-powered robotic platforms that hold the most promise? All right, kind of specific examples. That will be fun to hear.
I think for us, we are looking at so we came in from a manufacturing background. Manufacturing robotics is very, very promising. Something that, industrial robots have been around for quite some time now. So really, how do we generate more, robotics and more useful that case in that world? It's pretty promising. And like I said, now the biggest breakthrough compared to before is the use case that these robots can be, right? So, if you're able to do, like just for example, the humanoid robot able to go be in the manufacturing sites, it's kind of mimicking what humans can do in the manufacturing. Before, doing industrial robotics, you have to do one station at a time, right? You can't really change their job. You had to go through a bunch of iterations with a lot of engineers to be able to switch the different tasks that needs to be done. Now with AI and Empower and the way we go through machine learnings and the different power tool that we can use, we're able to generate these robotics to be flexible on the production line, right? They can change jobs from jobs. That's what's exciting from a manufacturing standpoint and the manufacturing robotic, and that's something that we're trying to crack because that could revolutionize the way we manufacture a lot. So that was one thing. From a security level, we see patrolling and security using these robotics could be another, great relief. And like I mentioned, manufacturing security, they have an underlying problem is, the labor shortage and also the labor cost has been increasing. So through these robotics, we're able to, help relieve these jobs, right? What still needs to get done, manufacturing, product still needs to get made, security still needs to be done, but there's just not a lot of human beings that want to do that. So we're able to use robotics and patrolling to do that and help covering. So not saying we're taking human completely out of the loop, but they wouldn't have to do the patrolling themselves. They can have the machines do the patrolling for them, and they can just sit in, at the control desk and see if anything's happened and let themselves know. So, it's exciting in that point where we're able to mitigate a lot of these mundane jobs out of the way, and people can do, more creative stuff, and they can do more, I'll say more valuable thinking for the company. So that's kind of where we see, exciting for us. And that's very realistic. That's something that we're trying right now.
Fantastic. We hear a lot about, the job securities, right? Or even threats to existing positions because of, right, AI, automation, technology. How about bridging talent and tech gaps? Because we hear a lot about IT in general and cybersecurity talent crisis. Okay, that's simply not enough humans out there, right, with those skills. So how do you think AI automation will help, with some of the creative strategies, hopefully, that can address that shortfall?
I think for us, we're actually leaning towards these people that are actually that were doing these jobs before. So, for example, like I mentioned it before, the manufacturing perspective, we're actually promoting our manufacturing operators to take these, robotic courses. We'll set them up with these courses and say, hey, they're the one that's actually know the machine more than we do, because they're interacting with them every single day, every single hour, more than the manager itself. So they should be more empowered to be able to, come up the ladder and learn about robotics, and give them another opportunity, because even robotics there, you still need human to manage these robotics, right? So people that need to understand these machines, they need to be able to manage those. It's the same way, right? Like from a security perspective, these patrols, there's things that they're looking for specifically. They're trained to look for particular tasks, whether at nighttime the door needs to be locked, AC needs to be turned off, or the window is broken or not broken. These are the things that little nuances that needs to be trained. We're actually leaning heavily on these people to kind of train that, and we want to give them an opportunity to move up. Like I said, they don't have to patrol themselves anymore, but they can learn how to manage these robots, because these robots still need management. So I don't think it's an opportunity for us to give them more, like I said, more valuable jobs, and more something that they can provide more value for the company. So we're definitely are very cautious in that way, to paving the road for them as well, not just taking them completely out of the loop.
Beautiful. That really makes sense, because again, right, there is
Just to try things. I think a lot of them takes trial and error, even for us, right? And a lot of things is like we need to do a lot of POCs, we need to do a lot of trial and error to figure out whether it's going to work or not. And like I said, the beautiful thing is, like, a lot of the AI platforms these days are open source, so the entry barrier really isn't that high if you're willing to try it, and just kind of discover what works best. And I think it's taking that first step, I think, is the most important part. And then, like I said, once you start realize a business model that works for the business, I think you'll see the value that can bring for embedding a lot of the AI technology into it. It doesn't really take a lot, like how it was before, to embed AI these days. So I think they can try it out first. It doesn't matter how small the step is. It could just be simple as automating, putting orders in, or just automating writing small programs on automating POs or inventories, checklists. That could just be something very simple, and it could be done right away, right? So I think just trying it out, feeling it out is the most important part. That can give you a general direction, and understanding the direction, you'll be able to do your analysis on ROI, and I think that could potentially embed a lot more resources that go into AI.
absolutely. When I'm thinking about adoption of AI robotics, right? Small organizations, larger, right, medium size, or large
Mhm.
enterprises, all right?
Right.
What should the leader keep in mind in terms of embarking on such initiative? All right, it's always rah-rah at the beginning. Okay, it
Yeah.
sounds like we're solving our pain points, right? Customers happy, our business users happy, right? Things are going well. But
Yeah.
what kind of simple guidance would you recommend, right, to leaders out there who are embarking on the adoption journey, but yet there are many pitfalls ahead? So how would
Yes.
they think about it? Yeah.
I think for us, it's the same thing I tell my team all the time. Is, we're allowing, like, failures. We're allowing room, margin for error, because, like I said, a lot of these things are very, very new, and there's a lot of gap that needs to be bridged between, like I said, the traditional industry and also the new technology that's happening. It takes time, but I think it just takes that drive, right? I think allowing the iteration that needs to happen, allowing the failure that needs to happen, but making fine tweaks, but never forget that North Star, where you know AI could really help out on increasing efficiency, how you're operating on your operations, and then also to embed self-sustaining programs that your company can use. So I think the main goal, the kind of the one shot deal, is kind of letting the company to be able to allow a failure, like really give it more room to grow. It's the thing, and it's not a one shot deal. It's something that take iterations, and it needs to grow.
This is good leadway to some of the successes, all right? Could you bring us, if not the client name, not project's name, but kind of the good scenario, okay, where AI robotics adoption was done right, Okay, when business saw the results, when it brought satisfaction across the board, for everyone
Right.
involved. Yeah.
I think I can give you two, right? The number one thing that we've done is internally. I can tell you about it for our mother company. We embedded AI, so that just happened this year. So last year, we, of course, every company had to go through a lot of the finances. Every month we have budget meetings. Within the budget meeting, because we're such a big conglomerate, we have different departments, different business units. So we had to collectively put all of the database on the P&Ls on different business groups all together. And then normally it will take our central team, a week to 2 weeks just to put the database together. So we can have a budget meetings all together as higher managers. Now we are embedding, AI tool sets that can auto-generate and auto-connect all of these database and generate the PowerPoint that we need. It only takes them a day now. So you went from 2 weeks to 1 day, and normally it would take a team of 5, team to 10 people just to put different business units database together. Now it only takes 2 in 1 day. So it dramatically shortens a lot of the time that we use just copy and paste, putting the database together and double checking whether the numbers are correct, and put it all together, double check again with the raw data. So that is eliminated. Like I said, you don't have to do that mundane job anymore. Right now, we can talk about the real thing. Now we know what the budget is. We need to figure out, where we need to go from here. Do we need to cut budget, or do we need to increase resources here? What do we need to make an investment? So we can take a longer look and wider look at, where we need to go from a business perspective. Another thing from a robotic standpoint, we actually have, POC right now in Taiwan that we're actually working with a lot of the infirmary. So, they're generating, power for Taiwan. And because the scenario is a tougher scenario for people like human labor to go and work, because it's an infirmary. So now we use robotics to do the security search, and also for their equipment, to make sure everything is all right. So that has changed a lot of the way that business are done. So now they don't need a human to be going to the infirmary. They can just have the robots walk around there, and the human can be outside and check everything's okay. And then so that's been happening right now. So those are the two things that it's a great example of what we've done and change the industry and change how we act as a business.
Fantastic. And yet I'm sure in your career there were a couple of disaster cases, okay? I mean, without going into deep details, I mean, some lesson learned, something about, dramatic days at work. We all had those, okay? Things did not go right. And sometimes, believe it or not, people remember negatives more than positives, all right? So if you could describe, and most importantly, right, what kind of lesson learned, what kind of good advice, how to avoid some of these mistakes?
Yeah, I think, it's funny because every time anything that comes to me out of the blue is always bad news. No good news come to me randomly. So I have to be there to put out fires. But yeah, I think for us, I think there's a lot of mistakes that we made, of course, especially now with the whole, technology transformation, putting the right people at the right place for them to be able to utilize their skills. I think it's number one lesson, without going into much details, and making sure that, the right leaders are leading the initiatives and making sure that they execute on the right level. And that, like I said, it's not necessarily meaning that you have to achieve, a certain level or certain, profit margin or stuff like that. It's just purely, are they aligned with the idea of what we're trying to do, and do they see the vision of where it could be, right? I think that's the number one thing that we were trying to figure out, because it's such a new thing, and we come from an older industrial background. Trying to put people on board was a huge lesson, and figuring out navigating through that was tough, but we're here.
Exactly, to feel that pressure and pain, and then you evolve as a more mature and experienced leader, right? So that's fantastic. What about the career advice, okay, for people who starting, who wants to be in technology, who wants to enter AI robotics. It seems to be such a hot field right now. Okay, and you mix security in, and it sounds like a golden place to be. At the same time, of course, lots, I don't know, overwhelming materials, honestly, right? What should you study? Where you should be? Where do you begin? So from your experience, right, kind of, for those who just starting out, kind of, right, what would be good career advice? Where to begin?
I think right now we're at the golden age where everything's accessible on internet, on anything. You don't have to go through a specific school. You can, but now information is so widely massed. So I think again, just getting started and not get too bogged down about the mistakes and pitfalls. Really, it's something that you'll face. The careers are always up and down. You face problems every day. You face things that you don't want to do every day. But really, I think the most important part is just having that mentality and continue to go and continue to keep trying. And like I said, don't forget about the North Star, right? There's always that end arching goal where we wanted to be. Always remember that, because on the road, there's always challenges. And for people that just started, start small. It doesn't really matter. Like I said, it's something that you just have to move forward. Moving forward is far more important than how big the stride is, honestly.
Yeah, but wish everybody best of luck, of course, right? We hear again about this shortage, the talent shortage, right? So those who listening to us, please get excited by Freddy Kuo, but leaders like Freddy, because this is a place to be. I honestly believe so. And you don't have to be deeply technical. That's just my own experience. You don't need to have a PhD in AI. Of course, if you do, good for you. You can be employed by Google and other good places. But what I mean by, you don't have to be deeply technical. There is jobs for everybody. What are your thoughts on this, Freddy?
I totally agree with you. I think that's the right mindset to think about these things. I didn't coming from a technical background myself, but I'm just so passionate and so believe in what AI could bring that I'm willing to learn. Right, I'm willing to understand what these could power. So it's all about that passion, understanding. Like I said, are you aligned with the mission? Right? Do you believe that AI could really change how we interact with people? How do we interact with businesses and how businesses run? If that's the case, like you said, there's jobs for anyone. There's still a lot of details. AI is such a big umbrella, and it goes through different businesses, and that's a beautiful thing about it. It can go into security, it can go to manufacturing, it can go to hospitals, it can go to anything. But as long as you're able to believe that and find a passion that can align the two, I think you shouldn't worry. Just there will always be job for you there.
Beautiful. I do want to send that positive message out there, because we do see a lot of, again, threats and negativities, honestly, right? How many other jobs are going to go away? And yet we all part of it, that wave, okay? So ride it the best you can, right?
Yeah.
Truly.
I think an open mind, right? Like, I think it's important to keep it an open mind, because I think there's always opportunity. My father always tells me when there's comes in diversities, it comes opportunity as well, right? It forces you to make changes. It forces you to look at things differently. But when that happens, you're able to try something new, and it could be a new path. You would never know.
Fantastic. I'm just curious, in your experience, if it's not applicable, that's fine too. But I hear a lot about partnerships, okay, especially AI, robotics, right? Larger companies working with startups and partnerships because they frankly more agile, right?
Yes.
Or one conglomerate working with another one, maybe across the world, because they have the right complementing capabilities. All right. So what is your look at, again, we're on AI, robotics, and security, right? What you look, how those partnerships evolving, and again, do we see like beautiful results coming from those beautiful friendships?
Yeah. We believe in the same thing. We think AI is such a big, it's a big world. It's such a big topic that we do need more people to be involved with. It's not just us, talking about it and us taking over everything. It's how do we find this partnership, and how do we strike a partnership where it's beneficial for everyone? Because we really believe that with AI, you need different partners to bring different things to the table. Like I said, the database is so important. We don't have all the database in the world. Even with the security business, you have people that are in banking, you have people that are in casinos, you have people in supermarkets. They're all very, very different, even though they're all under the security umbrella. And that's only one avenue that AI could go, right? So we need to find partners in supermarket markets and school markets, and within the security world. And from a manufacturing, it's the same thing, right? We manufacturing for, consumer electronics. We can manufacturing. There's industrial manufacturing. There's different manufacturing that needed, and that has specific know-how that goes into it. To embed AI, to have AI to be more, useful and powerful, you need these partnerships and collide together to learn different things, and these nuances needs to be installed into AI for AI to be able to be really useful. So yeah, we cherish a lot of partnership, and I think we have currently we have a lot of great partners that we work with that we're able to embed a lot of our robotic stuff into it, and they believe the same mission that we believe in, and we're able to utilize either their technology or their database to help us train the model that we want, right? And to be able to be beneficial for both parties, because for people that are letting us using their site to train our robots, they're able to get the robots, to help them either with labor shortage or cost effectiveness. So they're getting benefit of that. And for us, we're able to embed these robots and teach them more things where they can go to different areas in the future. So, I think it's a beautiful partnership that we have struck up these days, and I think that will continue to grow, because the more partners we have, the wider the net we can grow, and I think everyone will reap the benefit of it.
Fantastic. I'm glad that point resonated, because again, in my career in technology, wherever you go, partners and clients, partnering with clients sometimes, for POC, running new programs, right? Uniting the forces. I mean, I think it's crucial for technology adoption.
Yes, it is.
Beautiful, beautiful. Freddy, time is flying in good company. Okay, this is such, it's such wonderful, speaking with you today. In conclusion, would you please maybe finish with few takeaways? Because we talk about the shiny technology, the absolute fantastic, what's possible right now in AI, in robotics, exciting examples, speaking of drones and security systems and retail factories, you name it, right?
Yeah.
So kind of, right, to finish up with key takeaways.
Yeah, I think the key takeaways these days for us right now, our current state, I think really is enabling the old database and going back to look at what are the domain know-hows for a specific business that we have, and really cherish those and really figure out a way to use those data to drive newer future innovations through AI. I think that's the number one thing. And then again, I think the number one the overarching message is, don't be afraid to fail, because it's gonna take a lot of iteration, even for ourselves. That it took a lot of time and effort just to make mistakes, learn from it, move on, iterations of it. So I think give it time and understanding, honing in your data. That those are the two important things that I think, as of for now, will be the overarching goal for us.
Thank you. Amazing. Just to finish off, if you have any announcements, if you want to send our audience to check out certain resources, this is time to shine. So anything you want to bring up?
Yeah, I think for us, Luminys, right now we're doing great things in the security business, and in Sync Robotics are powering the robotic usage for Luminys as well. And then I think these are the two exciting things that we're doing with AI, that you can start, seeing different POCs popping up, and then, I think check them out. And then hopefully we're open to, like I said, more beautiful partnerships. Anyone that is willing to partner with us, feel free to link us up. And then, I think that's about it.
Fantastic. I want to encourage everyone to follow Freddy Kuo, to follow Luminys on LinkedIn. I'm sure there's a beautiful website out there. I was there. Exciting work, exciting solutions. So please contact Freddy for any support and further help. Thank you, Freddy, so very much. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.